Hey, today we talk about Gamescom 2024 and what we've been up to and what we've been playing. All this and more. This is Nerds with Mics.
What's up?
Hey everyone, this is Travis. I want to welcome you to episode 154 of Nerds with Mics. I'm Travis once again, and my co-host,
I'm Justin.
This asshole is Justin.
We did some shenanigans here, so if you're
Sometimes
watching,
on the-
if you're watching, you just saw what happened. But if you're listening, you have no clue what is going on. That's fine. That's just a treat for the people who watch it. How about that?
Essentially, on the video format, and this might give you a reason to want to switch to watching video format of our podcast, but we tend to want to mess with each other and taking our videos in and out at the times that it shouldn't be there, whether it's at the very end or in the beginning. Justin let me come in by myself, and it was just awkward me staring at the screen for a minute for no reason at all. But anyways,
and we're not going to cut that out.
Welcome to episode 154. Like I said, today we're going to talk about Gamescom 2024. And then we've been doing a fair amount of gaming, I think. So we're going to talk about what we've been playing and what we've been up to. Justin is going to bring us some his thoughts on the new Star Wars Outlaws game. Ubisoft was nice enough to send us a copy to play a little early. So he's had some time with that. So we'll talk about that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and kick it up and talk about what we have been up to. Justin, going to kick it over to you because I know that you're going to have a lot more than I will.
Maybe not, but I'll try. So we've been rewatching Modern Family, which has been fun.
What a banger.
What a banger. On the game front, I've been kind of like spreading my time between multiple games. I've gone back and dabbled in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
You can spread your time, but never spread your cheeks.
I've heard that. I've played the new Deadlock beta or alpha, whatever it is, from Valve, their new game. Got back into Valorant a little. Of course, Madden came out. I've been playing some Madden. If you're on the fence between getting Madden and College Football 25, get College Football 25. It's just better. And then Star Wars Outlaws, like he said. I saw a movie that I never wanted to see. That's just not my cup of tea. But Kayla wanted to watch it, and we watched it one night.
It ends with us.
No, that's a show, isn't it? Or no, that's This Is Us. What's it? I don't know.
It's that new Blake Lively movie that she's in hot water about. But go ahead.
Oh, gotcha. I've heard a little bit about that. I actually think Kayla saw that one. No, we watched this one the other day, and I remember seeing the first one when I was younger, and then they made a sequel, and the movie may have been good, but I couldn't tell because of the terrible, crappy soundtrack. For a movie with that budget and like that amount of hype, every needle drop was just terrible. I wish my ears were just falling off. Twisters. Easily the worst movie soundtrack I've ever heard in my life. Every song in that movie, every song, garbage. And it's not just the country music thing, because I like some country music, you know? That music was terrible.
Did you like the movie? Let's talk about that.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it was a choice. Let's just say that.
I didn't really care for it. And I didn't really care for anybody in it. I'm probably in the minority here. I'm not buying into Glenn Powell as a leading man in Hollywood. I think he's boring.
I will say,
the
two movies that I like him in is Top Gun Maverick,
which is a small part in that, right?
Yeah, small part in that. But if you haven't watched the rom-com, Anyone But You, I think is what it's called. It's the rom-com with him and Sydney Sweeney. It is actually really good. Their chemistry is really good, and it's a really good modern rom-com. But everything else I've seen him in, I also tried to. I did watch it. Hitman. I did not like that movie. That movie was not great.
I didn't see it. So I actually came up after we saw this movie, and keep in mind, I'm partly joking here, but from now on, I'm going to use this metric to determine, can this act. Now, this only applies to kind of like newer actors or unknown actors. Okay. People who are already established are fine. In my opinion, he's not established because, like, just to me, because I'm old man yelling at cloud. But from now on, I'm going to ask myself,
He said, "Get off my lawn."
I know. From now on, I'm gonna ask myself, could this guy have played Ken in the Barbie movie? And if the answer is yes, they have my seal of approval. If the answer is no, they're out. And I don't think he could.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely is no Ryan Gosling, that's for sure.
He's no, because I saw something on the Rewatchables Facebook group a few months ago, actually, that was, is Glenn Powell bigger than Pedro Pascal? And I'm like, no, like they're not even in the same like universe. Like Pedro is so far above him. But then I thought Pedro could play Ken. I would buy that 100%. So, yeah. So Twisters was just terrible. Not terrible. It was like the movie itself may have been fine. Just the acting was bad. And I mean, the music, man, I think every 5 minutes, some crappy country song came on. I don't know. It was just terrible. Like, it was so bad. But if you paid money for that soundtrack, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. It was not great.
No.
It was not great at all.
Travis quickly deleting it from his Apple Music library.
No, like, especially like when the music started playing, when Glenn Powell's character rolls up in the truck, and I'm just like, no, like, please, I don't want this.
The whole thing was just kind of like, I don't know. I didn't care for it. If I was a fan of like the first one and like was super hyped for this sequel, I would have been pissed off if that's what we got.
I will say the movie by far ended better than it started, but it still wasn't great.
Yeah.
I did not like Glenn Powell's character at first when he's like the this is maybe light spoilers, I don't really know, but when they make him out to be like
when he gets sucked up and dies.
The cocky YouTuber, which is very much a pretty good telling of how some famous YouTubers are nowadays. I was like, God, this guy is not likable at all.
But then he has a heart of gold.
But then when you realize why they're raising all this money,
oh my gosh,
you know,
he's just an angel.
Now he's an angel. Now he's the best. All of a sudden, he's not a douche.
And they tried to make Anthony Ramos a bad guy for like a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know who the real bad guy is? The tornado, the Twister. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, just a weird thing. I don't know. I wasn't crazy about it, but and then I've been playing Star Wars Outlaws, which I'm going to talk about in great detail in just a few moments.
Okay. Anything else? Any other movies or I guess that's everything, right? So you didn't have you haven't really done a whole lot as much as I thought you would have, but yeah, you said
it's been a busy couple weeks.
Yeah, so I also had watched Twisters as well. I've been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers. I've been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers and trying to think of what else. I've been playing a ton of Elden Ring. I think I'm almost level 70. I'm trying to beat that game because that's the game that I started when I was like in this lull waiting for Black Myth to come out. And now that Black Myth is out, I want to finish Elden Ring before I move on to Black Myth. But now we have Star Wars Outlaws. So I may move to give myself a break from the Souls-like games. Outlaws may be my palate cleanser. And then I'll go and play Black Myth after there's been some times for patches and bug stuff to be fixed. Because I'm more than likely going to get it on Steam because I've heard the performance on PlayStation is not that great. So yeah, that's me when I twerk, bro. How'd you know? I love a good twerk. That is so distracting. I can't. But anyways, so outside of that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I did start a new indie Steam title called Dungeons in Hindenburg or Dungeons in something. I can't.
Oh, is that out?
It's the Zelda-like game. And because you and I Steam Game Share, you now have access to it.
Well, I need to get your login again, but yeah, I'm going to try to look for it. I'm out there trying to reach onto my computer keyboard and download it.
But it's good. It is. So some of the reviews were like, oh, it's kind of like a Breath of the Wild. It's like the Zelda game for PC you didn't know you needed, but it is a very cute, very thoughtful game. It does feel kind of like a Zelda game, but don't expect it to be as polished or as in-depth as a Zelda game.
I had my eye on this and I didn't know it came out. I just didn't know it came out.
Yeah. I brought this up as my pick of the week. Last recording, you weren't here. But Fanatical is the website I've been using for a lot of CD keys. They run But man, I've been buying. I bought that game, and then I bought a couple of mystery keys. And by a couple, I mean I bought 25 mystery keys.
Dear God.
But I've gotten some good ones. So if you go in and
You
look
got
at my
Graveyard
library,
Keeper, right?
yeah, that was one of
Dude,
the mystery keys.
that game, top tier.
So I paid $14 for 20 keys, and I think over half of those games that I got were $20 and up games. Like it was a good deal. I also picked up a Pathfinder game. I picked up a few, but yeah, my Steam library has increased over the past like 2 weeks. But yeah, so been doing that. I really, really want to play Black Myth really bad, but I'm gonna wait, I think. Well, I may wait based on what you tell us about. So I would like to dive in before we get into the Gamescom conversation. I would, as you can tell, I'm stalling for me to write a banner, but I would like to get in and talk about Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah. So this game, Ubisoft sent us a copy. Thank you, Ubisoft. You are the best. We got it yesterday, and this is a game that I was really hyped for. I thought it looked cool. I like the concept of it, you being like a scoundrel, smuggler, Han Solo type character. They've maintained that there are no lightsabers in the game, and that appealed to me. Right? We always end up with a lightsaber in our hands somehow, you know.
So, I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you're going to get into it, but do we know the time frame of when this game takes place?
Between Empire and Jedi. So Han Solo is frozen in carbonite in this game.
Okay.
I haven't seen him yet in my game, but he was in the trailer, I believe. You
see I was just wondering, because it seems like all these recent Star Wars properties like feel a need to tie it back into something that's already been well established and everyone knows. And I wasn't sure if this game was going to do the same, but I guess if it takes place in that time period, then yeah.
So far, the Hutts are like the only kind of tie-in that I've seen, and I haven't even seen like Jabba.
Which, if you're a scoundrel, I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah. I did have something spoiled in the reviewer guide, but that they sent, but I haven't experienced it yet. So, but anyway, going back, so I started playing it, and right away, the actual cinematic cutscenes are like excellent. The acting is excellent. The voice acting is excellent. And then when you actually get in the game, one thing I thought before I ever played it was I thought the game looked kind of ugly. But then like once you're actually playing it, it looks pretty great. Like the lighting is good. And I'm playing on PS5, on a PS5 on performance mode. So I should be getting close to 60 frames. I have had a few frame drops, but like the game just looks good. Visually, it looks really good. But the first hour or so is extremely linear. You're basically just kind of following the motions to get to the next part, right? So I'm not going to count this as a spoiler. This isn't a spoiler because this isn't like a major story thing, but you get on a ship, you take off, you crash land on your next planet, right? I kind of thought that I would have a little more flexibility once I crash landed, and I do, but the game it's still, so it is an open world game, but like it's still very much structured. It's very much confined. So at the moment I'm on the second planet you go to, if you count the first place being the first one, right?
Okay.
It's kind of structured at the beginning, and then it opens up and you can really do some exploring and get into some trouble and pick up some like side quests and whatnot, which is what I've kind of been doing. I've been taking my time with it. I'm 5 hours in, and I still haven't got my ship fixed to leave this planet. So that's
now, have you got to ride a speeder yet?
Oh yeah, you get the speeder pretty early.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, I've got the speeder. I've upgraded it once or twice. I've got most of the parts for the ship. You kind of just get the story. But I'm telling you, one thing I was not really prepared for, and like I knew that this game had a stealth element, was just how much you needed to rely on stealth, because some missions are you get caught and the mission's over. And then some of them are like, if you go up against, so I guess I've gotten used to like, if I'm in a room with like 9 enemies, I'm just going to mow them down. Right.
Right.
That doesn't work in this game. This game, if you're up against like 3 or 4 enemies, you might be dying. Like, it's pretty tough if you're going in guns blazing. Like, that's not the point of the game. The game is not, because like if you think about it, like, I mean, in the movies, Han Solo has a few moments where he shoots, you know, and stuff, but for the most part, he's talking himself out of things, or he is, I guess, sneaking in some cases, but he's not really a shoot first. Well, I guess he kind of is a shoot first guy. Bad example. But what I'm trying to say is he's not like just go in a room, clear it out, and get the thing you're trying to get, right? Yeah, what's up?
I feel like I'm in class. I don't know why I keep doing that because I don't want to interrupt you. But so is there a dialogue system with choices, and do those choices have consequences for how things unfold?
So to an extent, yes. For the most part,
depends on the mission, I guess.
Play out. But usually every time you do a mission, you're given a choice of, do I want to help this crime family or this crime family?
So like the scoundrel part is like really in there in regards of like your choices of, do you want to do the right thing or do you want to kind of like be selfish?
Yeah. So at the moment, and I'll just tell you how my playthrough's going. I've already started off on the wrong foot with the pikes. But Crimson Dawn, I think is what they're called. We are like tight. We're best friends.
Is there 3 factions?
So there's 3 in the menu, but I think there's a 4th one. That I just haven't met yet. I've met all 3 people from these 3. Okay. But like on the menu, when you're looking at it, there's like 3 spots, and then there's like just a big blank space. So I'm assuming there's a 4th one that goes there.
Maybe you start your own.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, that would be kind of cool. Yeah. So at the and there's a reason why you kind of want to put like build up certain factions, because each one has like certain perks and abilities that help you unlock things. There's also people you meet throughout your story that kind of give you your abilities that are like specialized in something. Like I know a guy who specializes in speeders, and instead of just like getting XP and leveling up, I have to do certain things on my speeder to level up the abilities for it.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of cool. I just got the ability to like jump with it and then also boost, which is crazy fun. I will say this: if you're playing on PlayStation, the controller haptics on this game are unforgiving. Like you take your speeder and like you land it like from a high distance, like your hand's just gonna go completely crazy.
Does it have adaptive triggers at all for anything?
I believe so. That's weird that you say that. I actually kind of tune those out now. Like they just come so like second nature.
Yeah.
I'd have to like really probably go back and play it to like kind of get a feel for it. But the haptics, especially on the DualSense controller, are just bonkers. So I'm liking the story quite a bit. I'm not really fully invested in it yet, but I like what it's doing. I like how things are going. It definitely feels overall like it's going to be kind of a low stakes game. Meaning like I don't think this is going to be like, I think it'll be canon, but it's not going to change anything that we already know, you know, which is fine. I don't want it to. But one thing that I'm struggling with the most is just the actual gameplay. I'm not having a bad time. I'm having a good time, but something about the character movement feels off, the shooting feels off, and even driving the speeder feels off. I haven't actually flown the ship yet, so I can't speak for that. But something about just actually moving your character just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel bad. It just doesn't feel like you would expect it to. And I can't quite put my finger on it. But using Nyx, which is your little sidekick. 1 second, I'll get you. Using Nyx as your little sidekick to like carry out certain tasks is great. And I feel like I am kind of growing as I play. Like earlier, I had to infiltrate an Imperial base, and I used him to trigger explosives while he went and pickpocketed a Bacta thing for me so I could heal up because I was hurt. So he's very useful. Sorry, Travis.
Yeah. No, you're fine. So with this being a Ubisoft game, with the gameplay elements that you experienced so far, do you see that they have borrowed systems that they've had in other games, whether it be like The Division or Splinter Cell or Assassin's Creed? Because some of those are stealth games, some of them are open world games. Well, you know, do you feel like that's been inspired by some of the other franchises that they've been a part of?
Maybe just a little, not much, if anything. So I've seen one game pop up pretty regularly online. That's Red Dead Redemption. I don't agree with it. I don't agree that, other than you're just like a gun-toting person, like I don't understand. I don't get that comparison. It does have kind of the slow down shooting mechanic that Red Dead has, but That's not it. The one game it kind of reminds me of, and I'm saying this very broadly, is Uncharted. They copy a lot, it feels like, or they were inspired by Uncharted. I'm not gonna say they copy it because Uncharted is kind of in a league of its own, but like a lot of the climbing and swinging, like the climbing in the game feels more like Uncharted than it does Assassin's Creed. The
Okay.
swinging in the game feels that way as well, but it doesn't feel as good as Uncharted, which you wouldn't expect it to because Naughty Dog, they're kind of like god tier. But at the same time, the last Uncharted game came out like 10 years ago. So
Now, is the map fully open from the beginning of the game, or is it like Assassin's Creed where you have to climb up somewhere and reveal something in order to see the rest of the map?
there's no climbing and revealing, but like I said, at the very beginning, you're kind of in like a limited area anyway, and
Oh,
then you
gotcha.
leave it. When you get to that first planet that you go to, you're kind of locked in until you do a couple things, and then it opens up. In fact,
yeah, I feel
I
like they
actually
did something
tried.
similar Division a little
Yeah,
bit.
I actually tried to dip out and explore, and it reset my quest. But now I can do whatever I want. I can go around whatever.
Okay,
But there's like 4 other planets I just haven't and can't get to yet.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, very cool.
Overall, I will say this. I think it has like a 77 on OpenCritic. IGN gave it a 7. I think like a 7.5 after 5 hours is probably exactly where it should be. I haven't flown in the ship yet, so I mean, and I've only been to one real planet. I mean, there's still a lot I haven't done. I've only unlocked a handful of abilities, so there's still a lot of this game left for me to play. But I would say a 7.5 or 77 if you're looking at OpenCritic. I think that's extremely fair. I saw that Greg Miller from Kind of Funny gave it a 4 out of 10. And I was like, what the heck? Like, what are you thinking, man? Like you can have gripes with the game, but like no one that plays this game thinks that they're going to think it's a 4 out of 10. So I'm assuming, he didn't want to get lost in a sea of 7, so he gave it a 4 to kind of get some clicks. I don't know, but it was just kind of a really bad take. I saw some on OpenCritic, some smaller nobody sites, kind of like us. They gave it like a 5 out of 10, but like the general consensus among those that are like kind of reliable is the word I'll use. It's in the 7s and 8s, which I think is exactly. I think you give this game a 7, you can give it an 8, and nobody's wrong. I think if you give it a 4 or 5, you're absolutely wrong.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to playing it. Do you see yourself, like, do you feel compelled enough? You think that you're going to see it all the way through?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm very much invested in where it's going. And even though like earlier, like I was playing it and I was like, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to stop playing for a little bit. And I just went and like walked to my kitchen, got a drink, and I was like, okay, I'm back in. Like, I just wanted to keep playing it. So, yeah, I think I'm going to keep playing it. I think the main campaign, from what I read, is only like 20 something hours, which that's nothing. So, yeah, I'm going to try to knock it out, hopefully this week or next.
Yeah. Now, did you ever get back into World of Warcraft?
I actually didn't. I was going to, then I got busy, and my friend Greg, he dipped out, and I was like, I'm not going to jump back in by myself. So,
yeah, I don't blame you. Especially after all that grind we just had in Final Fantasy, man.
I know I'm taking a break from MMOs for a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I mean, playing from 0 all the way up is exhausting. I'm ready for a break until probably 7.1 comes out with some new story and dungeon and stuff. I'm probably going to use the time to get in some games, because if you think about it, like we have to get in quite a few games before the end of the year so we can have our game of the year discussion. So
that's right.
But yeah. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get into Gamescom 2024. Now, some of this may be news to you because I don't know. I'll be honest, like I was late catching. I didn't watch it all as it was happening, to be honest with you. I had to go back and read all the highlights afterwards, but just really wanted to discuss kind of what was announced, like the big things, and really talk about if we were impressed, not impressed. Did you watch it live, or have you read? You really haven't probably seen much on it, have you?
No, I've only caught a couple headlines. I saw some things come across that interested me, but overall, it kind of seemed a little lackluster.
Yeah, I believe it felt lackluster compared to previous years.
Yeah,
I think we're just kind of in this weird lull right now, right? But some of the games that were talked about that were just highlights was a game called Enzo, and that is Inzoi. I don't know if you've seen this, but basically it's their take on The Sims.
Oh yeah.
And it's been in the spotlight for a while. But at Gamescom, they had an actual fresh trailer that showed a lot of like a lot of upcoming life simulation stuff and quality of life stuff they've added. But it's supposed to hit Steam. So you can basically check out the character creator tool set on Steam from August 21st to the 26th. So if you're listening to this today, actually, no, today's the 27th. So you will not get to experience that, but they did put up the character creator so you could check it out. It looks very in depth. It looks so in depth that it is, essentially what it looks like Detroit Become Human, but it's like an actual simulator, so to speak, which is kind of cool. I sent you in private chat the link that I'm looking at, so if you want to look at anything, you can. Yeah.
I had another one from IGN pulled up here.
No, you're good. And then the next thing that was worth highlighting is, and I'm a sucker for these games for some odd reason. I don't really know why. I think it's because of bullet time.
Dude, me too.
The Sniper Elite games are always really fun. And on top of that, the Zombie Army games that are made obviously by the same developers, just a good time. Like they know what they are. They stick to that wheelhouse and they're always really good. But there's they announced a Sniper Elite Resistance. Now I don't know if it'll be out by the end of 2025. But the biggest twist is that the game will star an entirely new protagonist. So this is the first. So I think Sniper Elite 5 was the last game, I believe, right? And that's actually had the same protagonist from all the previous games. So this will be the first in the series to feature a new protagonist. So I'm pretty excited to see that, which is kind of cool because we've had the same person for forever. So we'll have to wait and see what that's like. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy about the underperforming of the movie, which did you go see Borderlands 3 or the Borderlands movie?
No,
I did not either.
Terrible.
I will watch it when it comes out on streaming, but I refuse to see that in theater.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Mystique Siren still listens to our podcast. Probably not, but
probably not after we talked about Borderlands like that.
I would really like to know what she thought about the movie. But
she's gonna love it though. She's locked into that lore in that world.
Well, I mean, and the reason I was saying that is like she uploaded a video of herself reacting to the reveal of Borderlands 4 trailer, which even though it was just a teaser, but she was overly emotional and excited about Borderlands 4. Which people that love the series are diehard fans and they're going to love it regardless. Yeah. And I didn't realize it's been 5 years since Borderlands 3.
I thought it'd been longer.
Which is crazy to think about. Yeah, I mean, maybe. But we also got Tiny Tina's Wonderlands in between. So, but yeah, so that was announced during opening night as well. And that game is supposed to be out sometime in 2025, which is pretty aggressive which I'm sure this has been in development for a while, but to be out in 2025 after announcing it, this week is pretty impressive. But I just wonder, like, would we have seen an announcement this quick if the movie didn't perform poorly? Is my question.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because, the guy at, I forget his name. Who is the guy at Gearbox that does all the Borderlands games?
Oh, God.
Ryan, no. Anyways.
I can't remember.
The guy had actually made a sleight of hand and said, well, if you didn't like the movie, get excited about the game. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
I was like, damn. Okay. But yeah, so people will be excited about that. But they also showed some more stuff around Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which are you still a Call of Duty fan? Are you?
Yeah. And I'm pretty pumped for this new one. It looks truly next gen. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. So this one was, so basically they showed off an extended look at Black Ops 6, like it actually showed off a mission, and it was full of bullets, explosions, glimpses of former U.S. presidents like Bill Clinton, which is pretty interesting. And like you said, the game obviously was visually impressive and just kind of encapsulates everything that was happening in the 90s, which is pretty cool, I think. I mean, that was our childhood, baby.
It was. Not mine, not yours.
Oh, oof. Damn. Shots
Got me.
fired. And then I've never really got into these games, but I know a lot of people like this is one of the most downloaded games on Steam, but Goat Simulator.
I know.
They announced Goat Simulator Remastered, which the original game has been out since 2014, which is 10 years. And they're finally deciding to remaster it. So for people that's excited about that, that will be available later this year, which is pretty cool. And then Persona 3, which I'm not a huge Persona fan. I don't play a whole lot of anime type games. But they announced this one, and they announced that the Joker will make an appearance in the DLC. Now, I'm assuming the Joker is from their franchise and not like DC's Joker.
It is, yeah. Yeah, they have their own.
Yeah. Do you know about those games? Do you play?
Yeah, I've played Persona 5 and 3 Reload. They're pretty good. They're like okay. Persona 5 Royal is like.
Are they more like action games, like action RPGs? Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I might get that.
Persona 5 Royal is like a 10 out of 10 game.
I'm just not as big on turn-based, I should say, and I just assumed they were turn-based.
5 Royal, I'm pretty sure is action. It's been a long time since I've played it, but it also has like a whole like life mechanic you have to maneuver around.
Oh, kind of like a dragon.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's cool. And then obviously they announced Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This officially launches in 50 days. And it's going to feature a lot of the characters from the franchise you love. I've not watched Dragon Ball Z, so I could be less excited. It's just not for me, but to people that are fans of the series, Now, what I did like to see is Dying Light: The Beast. So this is going to be a DLC for Dying Light. However,
I think it's a whole new game, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I think it's a whole new title.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Dying Light: The Beast, a new 20-hour adventure set. Oh, yeah. So it's set in the Dying Light universe. Okay. But I like the Dying Light games. I think they're very well polished. It's like the parkour take on a zombie game. But the trailer looked really, really good. So, and that will be out. I actually don't think they have a release date on that yet. And then for those people that like spooky season and the fall is coming, the Dark Pictures anthology Detective 8020. I don't know if you saw this, but it was a very disturbing trailer.
No.
But essentially it ventures into the realm of sci-fi terror, which is kind of a cool intersection. So you got sci-fi and you got horror. And what's cool is it's basically going to be so this is from the company Supermassive. I don't know. So they have so essentially it's just a collection of all their games, but they're also going to visually update them as well, which is pretty cool. Now, one trailer I was really excited to see because I didn't know anything about it, but I thought it looked very interesting. And it kind of has like a neon 80s vibe. It's called Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. So you would like this because this is actually by the creators that do Life is Strange. And I think you like those games, right?
I do. Yeah. Those are good games.
Yeah. So with this,
I saw this trailer too. It did get my attention.
Yeah. So, it's going to have two release dates on PC, PS5, and Xbox. Tape 1 arrives February 18th, and then Tape 2 will actually release on March 18th. So kind of similar to how Life is Strange, where they have different seasons, if you will, or different stories. Yeah. So that'll be staggered. So I'll be excited to see what this game will be all about. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's kind of noteworthy here. Infinity Nikki, I don't think I watched the trailer for this. It's an open world dress up MMO, but that's really all I know. It's probably something that I won't play because I don't think it really sounds like it's for me.
I've got one that that I'm going to scroll down here. They announced Mafia: The Old Country.
I saw that. No gameplay or anything, and very vague, and you didn't really know what it was until the very end, which was cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. We got a Marvel Rivals release date of December 6th, I believe.
Now, the Mafia game, do we know if it's the same companies that's been doing these remasters of the old ones?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, because they've done a great job with those.
Yeah. Um,
Go ahead.
But so usually I feel like we don't get a lot of big game releases in December. But this year we're going to get Marvel Rivals, like I just said, on December 6th, and then Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on December 9th. So typically I feel like the game release season pretty much ends in November. But this year we're getting a couple of big ones late.
Yeah. Now what I'm excited about that early access launches in November is I don't know if you've played the Path of Exile games, but they're kind of similar to Diablo.
Yeah.
But Path of Exile 2 will be releasing early access in November. And I like the first series. But yeah, the second one will be dropping in November, which I know that Diablo is having a big expansion come in October. So it'll be right around that time frame as well, which I think will be cool.
You know what we haven't talked about yet?
What's that?
Peter Molyneux showed up.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Just spinning lies, but yeah.
Making a new game, Masters of Albion. He said that Albion can't be trademarked or something like that. So that's how he can do it.
That boy's a clown.
He's a little goofy, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little intrigued by what he's got cooking.
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully there's a cool handhold feature.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, I do. Yeah. Did you ever play the games Little Nightmares?
No.
Not your bag, I assume?
No.
Okay. Well, anyways, the developers...
My job, not my problem.
Yeah. The developers of that announced a new game called Reanimal. It's a new co-op horror game from those developers because Little Nightmares 3 is also coming out as well from that same studio. I actually bought Little Nightmares 1 and 2 as part of the mystery keys, so they'll be on there if you decide during spooky season if you want to play them. But they're little side-scroll platformers that are supposedly really good, so we'll see. Now, one thing I am really anxious to get my hands on and try, because the trailers and gameplay look really great, but it comes down to if it's really going to be as great as it looks. But the Dune Awakening MMO, I don't know if you've looked into this much at all.
I'm pumped. Yeah.
But it looks really good. So we actually got, and if you haven't watched the trailer from Gamescom, they actually released a lengthier look at gameplay of the MMO, which got me even more amped. But during that, they showed off tools that allow you to create your character, action that you can engage in. They talked about, or they showed off how big the sandworms actually were. And then they showed off, obviously, some of the blueprint structures for like building and stuff like that. I'm really excited for this game, especially if they're able to land all the different factions. And that's like part of the MMO experience.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really cool. I am excited, like you said, Marvel Rivals, but because I haven't gotten in an alpha or a beta yet. So I guess at this point, I don't know if they have any more upcoming or not, but I need to check it out. And then might be a big deal for some people because it's only been available on PC and PlayStation, I think mobile. But Genshin Impact, which is the free Zelda-like game, it comes out to Xbox on November 20th. I never really got into it because I felt like they were just trying to get that money, you know?
Yeah.
But I never really played it.
I tried. I hated it.
Yeah. For those of you that are Civilization fans, they're making a Civ 7. That'll be available in February. This is supposedly, from what I watched behind the scenes and all that stuff, if you've gotten into Civ games but you didn't really know where to jump in, this is supposed to appeal to a lot of to new players. So look forward to that if you're going to play. I've never really been a huge Civ fan because I felt like the games always took so long to play, but evidently they're supposed to address that in the new upcoming release. Did you play much Starfield?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't beat it.
It fizzled out fast for me. I'll be honest.
It did, yeah. I still would like. I'm not done with it, but I'm not currently playing it.
Well, I will tell you the new DLC that they showed, Shattered Space, looks intriguing because it looks kind of like sci-fi horror almost, or like just kind of like a weird trip. But one of the cool things that come with that is they're actually adding vehicles into the game now, which could change, the gameplay that we're used to. So once this DLC drops and it's been out a while, I may go back and revisit that game. but we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. And then are you a big mobile gamer? Did you play any of the Monument games, Monument Valley?
Nope.
Great puzzle game. If you haven't checked it out, you probably should. Now, I know you're not so much a VR person anymore, but they did announce a Batman Arkham Shadow game for VR. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah, and I'm planning on playing it. It looks good. And I love the original Batman Arkham in VR as well.
Do you still have your PS VR?
This is Meta exclusive, but
is it Meta exclusive?
Do have a Meta, yeah.
Do you have Meta 2 or Meta 3?
Meta 3, dude.
I didn't know that. You like it?
Yeah, it's all right.
You said, it's all right.
Right here.
Let me guess. You work out in VR all the time, don't you?
Oh, all the time. That's why I'm so fit. Just pop this bad boy on.
Now, a game that I am really excited about, because I think the franchise is great, Monster Hunter. I don't know if you've seen the gameplay for Wilds, but it looks crazy. Yeah, we'll have to try to play some co-op in that game, because the co-op in those Monster Hunter games has always been really good, I feel like. So, and then let's see here. I think I was trying to
Kingdom
think
Come Deliverance 2, which
oh yeah, I just got it on Steam.
The first one's pretty good. Excited to play the second one. It's probably the closest thing to like a Game of Thrones type RPG you're gonna find.
Now I will tell you, I will tell you. So the same team that is behind Love, Death, and Robots, that have like all the shorts and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw their project called Secret Level, but they are doing a video game shorts. It comes to Prime Video on December 10th.
Okay.
And it's going to be like, just as some titles that's been teased is Armored Core, Ghost of Tsushima, Mega Man, just to name a few. I think this is great. I think little shorts where you can just get a little bit of that universe, I think is the ticket. Like, I don't need anything crazy. Yeah. Plus, I think it's a great thing that if it builds excitement with fans, then maybe they can decide if more content like that is worth it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really cool. And then I think, they also showed, this is one of the last things I want to mention. They showed an extended look at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I don't know if you watched the newest trailer for that.
I did. Yeah.
I don't even know if you're excited for this game or not.
Super pumped. Yeah.
But what's funny is several months ago when they asked Phil Spencer. They asked him point blank, like, is there any chance that this game's going to go to PlayStation? He's like, no, absolutely not. December 9th, it's going to be on Xbox, and then hits PS5 spring 2025. So isn't that interesting? That
is interesting, yeah.
So, I mean, good for people that want to play it, I guess.
It makes sense, too. And it being timed isn't as scummy as just keeping it off PS5 completely. So
that is true. But out of all the things that were announced, what were the things you were most excited about?
Definitely. I mean, the Marvel Rivals release date, I've been waiting for that for a very long time. So I'm glad we finally got that. Also, I am pretty pumped for Civ 7, and Dune Awakening. And then there's one more that I was thinking of. I'm trying to find it now, where I was like, oh yes, definitely that. And now I'm blanking. Mafia. Mafia, the old country. I love the Mafia games. They're so much fun. I can't wait to see what they do with that.
I'm kind of curious of because playing a Mafia game is like far back enough, but now you're going back like even before that. So I'm kind of curious how that's gonna go. You know what I mean?
They said we'll get more in December. I imagine at the Game Awards they'll probably showcase something big.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
So a Mafia game has been rumored to be in development for years. So I imagine that it will probably release next year. I think we'll get a gameplay and maybe even a release date at the Game Awards.
Depending on like the time frame for this, do we think it's like possible that maybe we are playing the villain when they're younger of the original game, like the main mobster?
Maybe. I haven't looked too much if there's any story details yet, so I'm not sure, but it's possible.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to wait till December and find out. But that would be interesting if you're playing the villain basically from the first game.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, I would have to say Indiana Jones, Sniper Elite. I would like to say Borderlands, but honestly, I didn't even hardly play Borderlands 3 at all. It's just like I kind of died off after 2, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the new Dying Light game, Lost Records, and then Path of Exile. I think those are probably the ones, and Dune Awakening. Those are probably the ones I'm most excited for. I'm kind of excited for Marvel Rivals, but I never really got into Overwatch, so I don't know if this game's really going to be my bag of tea either. But we'll see. All right. So without that, let's go ahead and get into our picks of the week. And I don't even know if you're ready for picks of the week.
I actually left it off of things I've been doing on purpose.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Color me impressed.
Okay.
So what is yours?
Mine is a show on Peacock called Mr. Throwback. And when I first heard about this show, I thought, oh, that's not going to be good. It's a show starring Steph Curry, of all people.
Oh, I didn't see it, but I saw that show was a thing.
Yeah, the point guard for the Golden State Warriors, and an actor named Adam Pally, who was in the show called Happy Endings, and he's been in other things too. He's also in the Sonic movies, and he's just in stuff. You've probably seen him somewhere. But I kind of thought with Steph Curry being in it, he kind of has this clean, wholesome kind of family image in a way. Like, he's one of the faces of the league. I did not expect him to be in a show that's so like R-rated, I guess. And not only that, but it's just really funny. Like, it's dark and twisted and hilarious. And I think we have one more episode, and I don't know what they're gonna do. Like,
But you've enjoyed it?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, is that I can't remember. That's not an Apple TV show, is it? It's
Peacock.
Okay. Peacock. Okay.
The definitive streaming service of all the streaming services.
Well, they did a great job advertising it during the Olympics. That's where where I first started seeing it.
Because Steph went off at the Olympics.
I know, right?
Yeah. Highly recommended, though. It's funny. Very funny show.
Okay. For me, mine's actually I guess technically it's hardware and it's software. It's not a game or a show or anything like that. But one thing I've just found to be very useful the past few days is Apple TV. The product, not the service, but the Apple TV with the Steam remote app installed on it. It allows me to just stream my entire Steam game to any TV in the house that has an Apple TV on it, as long as I have a remote paired to it. Because I have been, so I may have mentioned, I mentioned at the top of the show how I was playing the Dungeons and Hindenburg or whatever it's called. Anyways, but I bought it on Steam. And there's times I just want to chill out on the couch and play.
Yeah.
And I got the idea. I was like, I think there's a Steam Link app on the Apple TV. So I just paired an Xbox controller to my Apple TV, booted it up, and I'm just sitting on my couch playing. Hardly have any frame drop issues. So it's been great, because like now I'm starting to think like, well, maybe games that I would normally buy on PlayStation, like Black Myth, for instance, I was like, wow, sometimes I just don't like sitting in front of my computer that long. But now I can, stream them to my Apple TV and play. Now, of course, I have my Apple TV hardwired, and then my PC is also hardwired as well. But honestly, I haven't had any issues. The only downside that's kind of complicated is it will mirror the resolution that your monitor is in. That's one problem, because I have an ultra wide monitor, so I have to go in and manually change it in the game, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool, because even if you add like non-Steam games, you can launch them on the TV as well, which is pretty cool. So that's my pick of the week.
Sounds good.
So, but in closing, one thing that I did want to ask you about before we close is, there was recent news announcement. I can't believe we didn't talk about this at the top of the hour, because I think you and I both kind of have hot takes, similar hot takes. But there's recent announcements that it might be for certain that Ted Lasso will return for a season 4.
Oh, geez. Let it
And
die.
Because Terry had initially sent me this article, well, I'd actually seen it shortly before, and then he sent it to me.
Yeah.
Because he's a big Ted Lasso fan. And I said, honestly, I have very mixed feelings about this. So I would like to get your take on it.
No, just let it die. And there's even word that like Phil Dunster probably won't come back because he's in like other shows now. And like, if you're doing the show that Jamie Tart is like, I don't know how you could also, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the final season of Ted Lasso, I don't know how you could even do the show like if you were to bring Ted back, because the whole point of the final season was him leaving to go back to his family. So like, you basically like that last season that we had would be as useless as the Book of Boba Fett. Or the second season of Mando, I mean, where they undo everything, in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, just let it be done. It's done.
Yeah, I agree.
If they bring it back, I'll watch it though.
Yeah, I feel like the last season in itself was already rocky. Mm-hmm. It definitely ended stronger than it finished, but it just felt throughout the last season that they didn't know where they wanted to focus and land on. And I know that Jason Sudeikis has been very open about not doing a season 4 unless he felt like there was a script that made sense.
Yeah.
I want to say that I trust him in that process, but in the same breath, I also know how season 3 finished. So it doesn't give me great confidence. My concern is because there's been rumors forever that like maybe there'd be a Ted Lasso spinoff of some kind. My fear is that maybe they would come back for a 4th season to set up for some sort of spinoff, because I don't really feel like the last season really set off for a spinoff unless you just strictly went with like the coaches. Like you have Beard, you have Roy, and then you have Nate, and then it's just about them leading the
and I would
team.
Be borderline okay with that.
Yes.
Don't bring Ted back.
No. I just think like if they wrote him in a sense that maybe he makes a cameo every once in a while, maybe
FaceTime him, Apple placement.
Yeah, FaceTime him, bring him in, because like I'm already thinking he's back in Kansas eating barbecue and coaching football. You know what I mean? Or something like that. I don't know. But I just can't see how they can do it in a way that makes sense that I'll be happy about, to be honest with you.
I agree with you 100%.
So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. It's just, but I'm like you, it's like no Jamie Tart, like, because his story arc, in my opinion, was one of the best ones.
Yeah.
As far as just like he starts off as like this very non-likable character, and by the end, he's one of your favorite people. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I feel the same way about Jamie Tart that I did from Sawyer from Lost. I went from hating him to rooting for him.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Gosh, I need to watch Lost again.
I sent you that thing, which you probably already knew it existed, but it's like somebody had went through and chronologically organized them so you could watch them in order.
Yeah.
So like
I actually
you start with
those.
the flash. Yeah, you start with the flashbacks and then work your way forward. So by the time you get on the island, it's not the back and forth.
I actually have that in my possession. If you want to put it on your Plex, I can get it to you next time you're in town.
As long as it's good quality.
I mean, it's the quality that it is. It's some guy that made it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like TV quality.
We'll talk off the air.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, is there anything that you would like to add before we close out?
No, I think that's it.
Oh, we did forget. Hold on. What am I doing? I forgot. Gosh. Anything you're looking forward to?
Oh,
looking ahead, baby. I forgot.
Oh, geez. I wasn't prepared.
Also, I wanted to tell everyone in front of our audience, our listeners, and our viewers, I am sorry for your Joey Votto loss. I know this has been a sore conversation for the past like week or two that he's officially retired. And I know that you have really just been upset about it. You've even had like a memorial on your Facebook and everything.
Yeah.
So do you no longer look forward to going to Reds games or what?
Well, he hasn't been on the Reds this year.
I know, but still, every time you go now, it's just a constant reminder how he's no longer in the league.
Of how he retired. Yeah. It was sad. The way everything went down. He got ejected from his last professional baseball game. Really, his last.
That's how you go out, man. That's super sad.
I mean, and that's that's like a very Votto thing.
After he left the Reds, did he go anywhere else or no?
He went and played. He signed a minor league deal with Toronto, which he's from Toronto, so he went back home to play. First spring training game that he gets into, he crushes a home run, and like I guess there was a bat in the dugout, and he steps on the bat and breaks his ankle or twists his ankle, and he was out like basically the whole year. And it was just kind of sad to see, you know, this former great
after the other,
yeah. So I mean, I think everyone kind of knew he probably should have retired before this season, but I mean, by all means, go out there and get that money, my dude. You know,
yeah.
So I'm pretty bummed though that he's retired.
I didn't mean to bring up such a sore subject.
I know.
Tell me what you're excited about. Yeah,
very heartbroken. His like letter was so nice too. Like he wrote to the fans. To me, he wrote it to me. No.
Directly, dear Justin.
He said, "Dear Justin,
my loyalist fan.
I wrote you, but you still ain't calling." No, it was really nice. So I think, and I'm definitely a biased person, but I think he's probably the most interesting human being in all of baseball. Okay. He's a very fascinating person. So
maybe there'll be a documentary about him one day.
Yeah, maybe. I definitely look forward to seeing what he does next. I really hope he actually either enters the Reds broadcast booth or podcasting.
You'd be on that podcast.
This is kind of a spin-off question. Do you are there any like people that if you see that they're a guest on a podcast, you're like, oh, I'm listening to that because that's a great podcast guest?
Nathan Fillion's one of them for sure.
Ooh, I bet.
Because I just like his energy and all that. No, but I have been listening to a new podcast recently. Well, new to me, just because I think he's funny. I don't feel like I should think he's funny because I feel like a lot of people don't like him. But Theo Vaughn, I don't know why. But no.
The
listen.
Barbie movie. My friends and I quote that clip. He's like, I'm not
going to
see the Barbie movie.
So let me tell you the first episode I listened to.
Yeah.
So Bernie Sanders went on his podcast.
Oh yeah, I saw clips from that. Yeah.
He is very well studied up. So when he's asking Bernie questions,
I don't think he's a bad podcast. I think he's a funny individual. I think like his whole presentation is like comical.
But then the very next week he had Donald Trump on.
Oh geez, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, but what was great is he brought up follow-ups from things he learned from interviewing Bernie.
Oh, that's cool.
And I just think he's outside of him just being a comedian, obviously being very deep South and kind of hillbilly-ish. Yeah. Like he just seems very informed on things that after I hear him talk, I'm like, there's no way that. But obviously, he probably has people that helps like research for him and whatnot. I'm assuming as well. But to answer your question, honestly, I don't know. I know Nathan Fillion's one, but I would have to. That's something I would have to think about. I'll have to let you know in a few, like our next episode, because honestly, I would have to think about it.
So mine are legit. I'm not making this up. Mine's Bill Hader and Joey Votto. Like they are two of the best podcast guests and Danny McBride. Those are three of the best podcast guests I've ever.
Oh, I've never heard one with Danny McBride.
He was on. It was either Marin or Conan. I forget which one now. And it was just like, because like not only is he like really funny, but like he's very smart. And like when he actually starts talking about the craft of like making his stuff, oh, it's so fascinating. That's how Bill Hader is too. Like he doesn't go there to like be a comedian or be an actor. He goes there to like say, well, when we did the highway scene on Barry, we, and like he gets like into like the technical. I love that stuff. Just like learning about like how they make stuff. And like hearing like these people like geek out about their work I love that.
Yeah, I did actually. Now I'm thinking about it. I do remember listening to a podcast when he was on Films to Be Buried with Brett Goldstein.
Which one? Hader?
Yeah, Hader. Yeah, he was on there for that one, and it was really good. But yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I'll have to follow up next week when we record because I would have to think about that. Honestly.
Yeah, John Mulaney's a good one too.
Now, with all that being said, did you even say what you're excited for?
I thought about it. I had enough time to think. NFL season starts soon, baby. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, and I've decided. I've been asked by two individuals to do a fantasy league, but I decided I don't want to.
What?
Yeah, I just
Do it.
don't have enough. I just
Dude,
don't have
do
enough
it.
time to set.
Hey, do it. Let me co-manage it with you. We'll win the chip.
But you would want your own team.
No, I'll co-manage one with you.
Okay, well, I might ask if can we co-manage a team? Is it made?
Yeah.
They make that easy in Sleeper?
Yeah. You can apply 2 people to a team.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll
let
let
them
you
know,
know.
and then we won't make any decisions without I won't do anything without talking to you. But I'll make sure
I'm
lineups
just
are
bad
set
about
and
setting
stuff.
my lineup every week, and I
I'll
refuse to
make
be that
sure-
person that just lets it go all week.
Listen, I'll make sure it's set, and I will. Is it
Will
a
you
Monday
also
league?
be a part of the draft?
If you want me
That's
to,
the
yeah.
problem. Is it? No, it's for nothing. That's the problem.
That's
I'm
fine.
not
That's fine.
motivated by just.
No, I was gonna say
bragging
we'll
rights.
get you paid. We'll get you some money. But no, I just did a draft the other day, and we always look up like draft grades after on 2 different sites. I go to 2 different sites to look at my draft review, and I was the number 1 draft on both of them. So
Because we were in a league that one year together.
I almost beat everybody.
I know. You just out here jonesing. You jonesing for blood. I know.
I am. I need it.
I know for me. So looking forward to. I got vacation coming up in October, early October. Then I'm gonna try to go home and visit family towards the end of October, and friends. Yeah, we'll probably get lunch, get some buddies. I need some buddies.
Well, I thought we get some Mountain Don'ts at Peddler, man.
Okay, Mountain Don'ts. All right, you had me at Mountain Don'ts.
Let's go.
But outside of that, I think that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot else going on. It's gonna be the holidays before you know it, which is crazy to think about. Oh, I'm excited for fall. I'm excited to get out of this miserable weather.
Yeah.
Which oddly enough, it's been hotter back your way than it has here. It's 93 today.
It's miserable here. Yeah, it's like 100.
Yeah, I don't want that.
And humid. It's very hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if nothing else, just want to say thank you, everyone. This has been episode 154 of Nerds with Mics. We appreciate you. Please make sure that you like, review, and share us with whatever platform that you're typically used to. Why are you smiling? Why do you do that?
Because I'm going to get you here in a minute.
No, you're not doing that. Not on my watch.
Yes, I am.
Anyways, so make sure that you like or review us on whatever listening platform you're on, whether that's Spotify, whether it's Apple Music. Make sure you follow us at our social medias. We are basically on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And we also have a website, which will probably have some reviews coming up. So make sure you check that as well, nerdswithmics.com. But yeah, until next time, peace.
Bye.